All right, good evening, everyone.
Here's Joe.
Thank you for joining us. I hope everyone is staying cool. I know it's nice and cool here. If you're not cool at home, it is nice and cool here in the Holiday Bay Room, so come on down. All right. We'd like to open, as we always do, with a Pledge of Allegiance. I would like to ask our ACC Chairman, Dave Humphreys, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, David. I don't know if any of the rest of you are like me, but I've been certainly getting my fill of Olympics these days, right? And although there's a lot going on now, we're still a week left to go, and it's been a very exciting time for our athletes, our country, and nice to see everyone coming together in a sporting exhibition around the world. So can we begin with a verification of quorum, please?
Director Cook,
Here.
Director Bill,
Here.
Director Commission, Director Doherty,
Here.
President Van Vliet,
Here?
5 present, quorum met.
Excellent. Okay. And first item of business is to approve the minutes from our meeting on July 2nd. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes as written, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Hearing 5 in favor, motion carries.
All right. Now I know many of you may not know tonight is also a National Night Out, which is an annual night across the country where public safety organizations, police officers, and so forth get together with the community and get out and demonstrate. They gather. And in fact, tonight our city is gathering as we always do on this night, the first Tuesday of August, to get together with Wildemar and Lake Elsinore, and so they're gathering for that. So as a result, we do not have any city council members here to speak, or water district officials. So we're going to move on. We'll catch them next month. And normally we do a member of the month presentation. We have a very deserving member of the month this month. Unfortunately, at the very last minute, there was a medical emergency and this person is unable to attend. So we are going to table that for tonight, and we will be presenting that next month instead. Likewise, there are no announcements for tonight, so let's just open it up to any members who may have any comments.
President, we do have Samir Youssef. He would like to make a comment.
Samir, come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Samir Youssef. I've been living in Canyon Lake for almost 50 years. I own multiple homes, and usually I do not park in the street. I keep my toys and my RVs and what property I own. I build the garages for them, or I build driveway. And at present time, for the last 6-7 years, I mean, I have a problem with one property across the street. They are a tenant and they own like 8 cars. The reason they own 8 cars is because they rent rooms. That's mean my side of the curb, always minimum 6, 7, 8 cars. And we cannot get in the house because they block the entrance to the house. I cannot back up my RV because I couldn't. So far, this year alone, I did more than $25,000 damage in my 3 different RVs. I have pictures here to show what's going on. All I need from the board for us to get it in the house, because literally they block entrance to the house. If the board allowed me or your service department paint 21 feet of the curb red, my curb, which I paid for it 7, 8 years ago when I was doing remodeling the whole house. So we could park our car to get it in the house And I have my cousin, she's a handicap. She doesn't come over anymore because we got no way to park. For us to park around another side of the street, she cannot walk all the way to the front because the street is blocked. And I have here pictures I'm going to show you. So most of you could see what's going on. May I? It happened before. One of the members here in County Lake painted his curb was red.
Right.
That was Tom and Nathan. His curb was all been painted red, so people cannot park there because he was too close to the baseball diamond. So he couldn't get out of his house or he couldn't get out of his driveway. So that's mean that technically the board could do it that if they want.
Thank you, Samir. Certainly understand
Thank
your
thank you
frustration.
so much. I appreciate it.
We will take this under consideration. We'll discuss it with the POA as well. Thank you
Thank-
for bringing your concern forward.
Thank you so much.
Are there any other members that wish to speak?
No more comments.
All right. All right. All right, so let's see, I guess to be consent agenda, we approve the minutes, but there are consent agenda items A through D, A, B, and C. I'm going to ask for a request to approve items B and C, which is the report of the executive session and the authorization of liens. Is there a motion to approve items A, or items B and C as well?
Motion.
All in favor of
Second.
approving those items B and C, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? No, great. I left off, even though it's typically on the consent agenda, I left off item D, and that's approval of funds transfer. And just because it's a transfer between funds, I think it was good practice to have our controller come forward. If you could just report on it, and we can take a vote on that item separately. Since, or maybe not.
Good evening. Out of our operating fund, we pay all of our bills, including the bills for the other funds. From time to time, we need to replenish the money into the operating fund from the other funds. This month, we're requesting that we transfer out of the reserve and replacement fund to the operating fund, $640,000. Both of these accounts are at Schwab, and it's simply an electronic transfer. In compliance with Civil Code 5515 and fiscal management, it is recommended that the transfer of $640,000 between the Schwab operating reserve account and the Schwab repair and replacement reserve account be done in order to partially repay the interfund balances as of July 31st, 2024.
Great, Susan. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Okay, I'm going to ask one question for you. And as I recall, this is, you said, use the keyword repay. I think we, in a prior board meeting, we approved the transfer the other way, and this is just returning the funds. Is that correct?
We have been replacing it in this direction for a short period of time now, but it has been accomplished and the balances are evening out now. And we won't have to do this, especially this large of an amount going forward for quite some time.
Thanks, Susan. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries. Mr. President, may I ask about item A? Did you not want to ratify the monthly financials? Did you pull that for a reason?
No, there is no reason.
Okay, just making sure. And then I need. a
If we approve the
first and a
minutes, we
second on
didn't
that.
approve the consent agenda, so we'll do the full one. Item A, I'll approve the monthly financial statements as well. Say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Hearing five in favor, motion
Gotta happen at
carries.
least once a meeting, right? Okay, thanks, guys. So Susan, since we still have you, talk to us about audits.
Yes, we just recently completed our 2024 audit. And on an annual basis, the Board of Directors is required to acknowledge the receipt of the annual audit. Our auditing firm, Carlson and Ferris, APC, has completed the audit. Staff recommends that the Board of Directors receive and file the annual audit report as of April 30th, 2024.
Is there a motion to ratify or to approve the financial statement, auditor's report? Thank you, yes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments, questions about the annual auditor's report? All in favor of receiving and filing the annual audit report, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
All right. So now that we've received and filed it,
During the course of the audit, there was one recommendation that our auditors had made and it came in the form of a comment. And the topic was our capitalization limit. And let me explain what that is. When the POA has an item that it purchases, and currently if the item is under $1,500, we report that item simply as an expense, just like any taxpayer would report an expense on their tax return. If that item is over $1,500, we would put it into a capitalized fund report or account. In other words, we would not capitalize items under $1,500. We would capitalize items taking those costs out of the reserve funds if they're over $1,500. Our auditor presented us with some IRS regulations that indicated that our minimum limit is recommended to be $2,500. And for companies our size could go as high as $5,000. If we were to adopt a $2,500 capitalization limit, it would place $28,000 approximately more into our repairs and maintenance accounts in our operating budget. If we were to approve a $5,000 capitalization limit, approximately $100,000 additional would need to go into our operating budget to account for those items as repairs and not for capitalized items. The impact of these movements into our operating budget could be mitigated by reducing our contributions into the other funds. Therefore, there would be a negative impact on the assessment dues each year. This is an accounting treatment. This is every company has to address what their capitalization limit is. And we have had several discussions in the finance committee over the last few years of what our capitalization limit should be and is it too low? And it was our auditor's opinion, it is in fact too low. But I did want to add some additional information for the board before they make their decision. If you were to approve a $2,500 capitalization limit and you did not reduce the fund contributions, that would only add 48 cents a month to the assessments. It's a very small amount. In addition, if you went with a higher limit of $5,000, that's an option for companies our size, it would only add $1.84 a month in our assessment dues if in fact you kept the reserve items exactly the same. So that would be the financial impact of approving a higher capitalization limit. So we are saying the auditor recommendation is that the CLPOA adopt a capitalization policy limit that follows the IRS guidelines for applicable financial statements, which just means audited financial statements. The minimum capitalization limit should be 2,500, and the recommended capitalization limit for larger companies could be as high as $5,000.
Is there a motion on this matter? I will make the motion that we adopt it and discuss the amount of the impact between 2,500 and 5,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I'll offer a few comments. For one, first of all, I want to congratulate Susan and the whole financial team. As I understand, this is the only recommendation that came out of the whole audit and you've been here how many years?
7 years.
7 years. Have you ever had I don't think you've ever had one as smooth as this one has been.
In 24 years, I've been on this side of being audited. I have never had an audit go this smooth before.
So congratulations are warranted to the team for doing, to have no findings for one, and to have one recommendation come out of a full financial audit is tremendous work. So I want to say thank you for you and your team for the outstanding work. Second of all, on this item, this has actually come up a number of times. I know when my first year on the board, we actually discussed this at that time. The IRS changed the ruling from 1,500 to a higher level 7 years ago. So it's been 7 years. We're now kind of operating like 7 years behind in that respect. I know in the companies I've been with, I've had to deal with this item as well. And it is an adjustment in terms of operating the company. But it's really a financial thing. It doesn't really have as much a financial impact on people, but it's an audit, an accounting measure. It will require some adjustments. That said, 3 years ago, we had talked about moving to 2,500, and I think we didn't for whatever reason when I was on the board. In 3 years, it's now going from 2,500 to 5,000. I think it's good practice for companies this size and larger to do it 5,000. So I would advocate for a $5,000 capitalization limit.
I agree. I agree with the 5,000 because, say you have to replace a couple computers, got to be able to do, maybe 4 at a time. You just don't want to piecemeal 1 at a time sometimes with a big company like this. So I think a larger limit is better for the operating for staff.
Another benefit is we have about 1,000 items in our reserve statement. This would reduce that by about 300. So 30% as a significant thing. So it make our analysis there a little bit better. That said, if we do this change, I don't think it's appropriate in any company to make a change mid-year. And I don't think we should make the change until the end of the fiscal year because you have to set your next year's budgets up with this accounting in order to have them match up. To do it mid-year is unfair to the organization. Any other comments, questions? So I'm going to go forward with the proposal that we adopt the capitalization limit of 5,000 at the next fiscal year. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Community discussion?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Claude Beauchamp, lot 3718-004. I'm also the existing chair of the Finance Committee, as you know. In addition to this, I support the $5,000 capitalization limit. It's just right nowadays with the pricing of things. Anything below is just an expense item. And further, I would argue that any item that is in the reserve listing that has a useful life of 1 year, and there are some there, and it might be over $5,000. But if it's deemed that it only has a useful year, that's by definition is an expense for that fiscal year. Because if you're replacing it every year, it's a fiscal expense. So that's just my comment.
Thanks for your input, Claude. We appreciate it. And we appreciate your service on the Finance Committee. Sorry. Soon to be. Any other members wish to comment on it? All right, let's take it to a vote. All in favor of adopting the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Hearing 5 in favor, motion carries.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
And again, congratulations on a job very well done. All right, Tiffany.
Hello, I'm here to do a committee appointment for the senior work group. Paul Hawker has been recommended by the senior work group to be appointed as a new member. The senior work group voted their approval July 2nd at their monthly meeting. It is recommended the board of directors appoint this member to the senior work group to fill a vacancy. There was only one applicant.
Is there a motion to approve? I'll make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Please make comment.
Regarding Paul Hawker, I don't know about that guy. You know, he shows up for everything, contributes to everything he does. I mean, he should probably just take it easy for a while, but I'm more than happy to approve him, and I'm glad to see him here tonight, and I'm glad to see that he's going to be joining that group.
I'll certainly echo those comments as well. Paul is a fine resident, a good human being, and does a lot for our community. You know, when you can go on Facebook and you see somebody who actually makes a positive comment about the POA, you know, they got to be okay. So. All in favor of approving Paul, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Hearing 5 in favor, motion carries.
Susan, we're going to ask you to come back up. We should switch the order.
The Finance Committee has an opening for a committee member. The Finance Committee has the following recommendations: to move Terry Washley into the first alternate position to the Finance Committee. The recommendation is the board accept the above changes and elections of the Finance Committee effective immediately.
Is there a motion to,
Motion.
Motion.
all right.
Second.
Any member comments? Board comments? I know Terry very well. She's got an impressive background with the city of Irvine as a finance officer there. Can't think of a better candidate. All in favor of approving Terry Washley to first alternate, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
Hearing 5 in favor, motion carries.
All right, item 8.5, 28-day reading Happy Camp rule revisions.
Good evening. It's brought to staff's attention that some of the verbiage in Happy Camp's rules needs to be updated to reflect the current practices. Mainly our new software, North Star, and reservations. However, in reviewing this, as I was sitting, waiting to come up, we do have an error, a copy error in the rule. So I don't know if we need to come back, if the board chooses to approve with amendment, or if we have to come back for another 28-day reading.
Incorrect.
We can make an amendment
We
and
can
the
correct
proof is
it.
amended. You can, I want you to clarify what the amendment is.
Well, I'll make it easy. It's highlighted. It's it'd be rule 5.1 availability. There's a highlighted section in there that was highlighted to bring the staff's attention to re-review and never got taken out. So.
Are you taking out on a first come, first served basis?
Yes, because we no longer do first come, first serve. It has to be done by reservation
By reservation only.
with,
Thank you.
with our software.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve this as amended?
Yeah, so moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. Any member comments? Discussion? Any board comments or
Yeah.
discussion?
Yeah, Steve, on page 63, which is HC 3.10 stay limits, in the red, and it's just a little typo thing, but as long as we're correcting it, I saw that back until the conclusion of the 48-hour intermission.
Correct. It should say 48 hour.
Yeah.
Thank you
So-
for catching that.
That's just another little correction. But we can approve it based on those corrections.
For clarity, it looks like we have two clarifications. One is on item HC 3.10. We're going to add in 48, next to the parentheses 48, we'll say hour. And on item HC 5.1, we are going to strike on a first come, first served basis. Are there any other comments? Questions? All in favor of approving this these new rules as amended, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
Thank you, Steve. Mary? 8.6, 28-day reading for rule revision on malicious mischief.
Good evening. The Board of Directors requested that legal review GR 2.9 as attached. Legal made the following recommendation edits to the rule GR 2.9 malicious mischief as shown in the red line version. Board of Directors approved legal's recommended edits. It is recommended that the Board of Directors approve the 28-day reading as revised, GR 2.9 as attached.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All right. Any member comments or questions? None. Board comments, questions? I think, as my understanding on this matter, this is adding a little more clarity so that to remove any ambiguity that any malicious mischief up to and including public disturbance is subject to this ruling.
That
Correct?
is correct, yes.
Good. All in favor of adopting this 28-day reading, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
Thanks. Number 8.7, the 28-day reading on permanent guest lists and annual guests. We were going to discuss, I'm actually going to propose that we table this for a month and bring it back next month. The reason being is there's some discussion about how to deal with, in moving from permanent to annual guests, how to deal with that with respect to our dwelling live software. And there's a few questions we have to do in terms of implementation. And so it might be a little premature to deal with it today, but we should be able to do it by next month. All in favor of tabling this item? I propose we table it. Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of tabling the item, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hearing five in favor, motion carries.
All right. That's it for our regular business. So Eric, why don't you regale us with stories on the general manager's report? Come
I guess I could use a microphone. I also want to say congratulations to Susan for an unbelievably clean and smooth audit. So, and your staff, yes, and your crack accounting staff. So, great job. That's pretty remarkable. First time in 24 years. So amazing. I can't say enough good things about everyone that works at the POA. We have a really incredible staff. Everybody does their job. Everybody knows what's expected of them, and they all do better than that. So Susan and her team are just one example of that. So we appreciate you. Don't have a lot. Taco Tuesdays were great. we have Maui Sunday coming up. I was gonna look up what the date is and I don't have it. So, the 1st of September, I think. So coming soon. We have Craig Campbell concert coming up this next weekend. No, this Saturday. Yeah. August 10th. I think there's probably still a few tickets available. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Chase Beckham, I'm pretty sure we still have tickets available. That's November 2nd. Chase was an American Idol winner, and that's going to be a fantastic show. So if you don't have tickets, check it out and get some tickets. Our tennis court shade structure project is, we passed final inspection and we're doing the final pieces and should be taking the fence down when, Steve? Tomorrow, we're taking the fence down. So everybody should get a look at that project, and a very nice addition to a piece of land that was underutilized for the last 55 years. And so we're happy to finally do something nice with that area, and it's a great improvement. Our pavement engineer, GMU, is currently working on our updating our pavement management plan and a pavement condition index throughout the community. They should be delivering that to us. It's basically a report that we should be receiving next month. And that will help us determine what the worst roads are in the community and help us develop our year 3 pavement management, our pavement project that we'll be doing next year. Next year, we plan to do around $2 million worth of work, be our 3rd year in a row.
We normally have on the agenda, I overlooked it this time, but I know I always am very interested and would like to hear a report from our community patrol. And Ken, if you wouldn't mind, please coming up. I know you guys thought you maybe got out of it, but would love to hear what you have to say.
Thought about you. I thought y'all forgot about me there for a second. Best for last. Best for last, right? Okay, so for the month of June, we had 1 call regarding speeding. We had 8 citations issued, 75 calls regarding parking with 479 citations issued. We had 80 calls about people running the gate. 17 times people did not comply with us, and it led to a citation. 28 calls regarding e-bikes. We had 22 citations issued. 42 calls regarding noise complaints. 7 citations were issued. We had 0 calls for service regarding failure to stop at a stop sign. However, 14 citations were issued in the month of June, as well as 0 calls regarding people illegally riding and towing on the streets of Canyon Lake, while 7 citations were issued by patrols. In the month of June, we had a total of 444 service calls sent to our dispatch and have officers sent out. 25 times that led to a unable to locate call. We had a total of 339 guest citations issued for that month. 0 service provider citations were issued. 356 member citations were issued, and 444 warning citations were issued. A total of 36 speed trailer citations were issued and sent out, with a total of 8 vandalism reports and 31 property damage reports were submitted from the community. We had a total of 118 miscellaneous violations that were also located by patrols and issued citations for. A total of 136 passes were confiscated at the gates, and we spent a total amount of 431 minutes doing 2-lane protocol at the gates to assist with entry. We had officially started summer in June.
Well, you can tell it's summer, can't you? by the security statistics. Any board comments or questions?
You had the vandalism count here at 8. Were those large enough to warrant a report to the RSO?
For the most part, it was just graffiti in stalls, something that that was reported to operations and covered up that or painted over that way. The times that it did lead to a large area, the reports were sent over to RSO.
What about the property damage where you have 31 sites for that? What type of stuff are we seeing property damage? Is that people just crashing into their own driveway or more vandalism than serious? What are we looking at?
In regards to property damage, it's not citations. It's more of how many gate arm strikes we have. We won't issue you a citation for striking the gate arm. You just will get the property damage bill.
And for clarification, that's POA property damage. If someone plows through their garage, that's what they do.
Zach, I have a couple of questions for you. Can you tell me what miscellaneous violations are?
Miscellaneous violations are like fishing violations, any kind of small violations that community patrol will deal with while we're doing our regular patrols. They are the ones that are not as big of safety violations.
Okay, good. So it's like fishing, dogs, noise,
glass containers on the beach, stuff along those side of
Good.
things.
Thank you. And then on your report, again, good job on the report. I'm particularly very pleased to see the failure to stop at stop sign. I know we've gotten a number of comments from residents concerned, particularly over on Longhorn, around the baseball fields and so forth. I know as Little League was going on, it's certainly a significant safety concern of ours. So I really good to see that Community Patrol has stepped up efforts to address that. So thank you for that. Ken, you want to maybe give us a little more insight on some of the initiatives that are going on?
Well, we talked earlier about the bus program. We get inundated with 4 to 5 buses within a 20-minute period in the mornings. So we're going to start with staking out the gates and taking the buses and following them and finding the youngsters. With 5 buses and less than 5 patrol officers, we're going to prioritize and take care of the younger kids first and go to their locations. We're going to network with the bus drivers and see if they can give us a schedule or if there's anything that we're missing. Turns out the school district doesn't have that information on their website, so we have to do some reconnaissance on our own to find that. The other programs we're looking at now are being more service oriented for the memberships. And when we see certain situations happen and it's maybe their guest or they don't know, or maybe someone doesn't go home and tell their parents, exactly what happened, we're looking at creating a list of certain types of situations and creating scripting to do some courtesy calls before the citations get to the house. So hopefully if there is a guest, and we've seen that, the guest has a friend and they bring them in and the original primary doesn't realize that, it gives them an opportunity to react to that faster.
I know today is probably, or yesterday was probably the happiest day of the year for many parents as school started again. And, but talk to us about e-bikes. We have a program to enforce registration, but also focus on the rewards program. Can you tell us how that's going?
Wonderful. We're rewarding people. You reward the behavior you want repeated. So we will be giving out and have been giving out vouchers to the kids when they're wearing their helmets, when they have their bike registered, when they're in the lane they're supposed to be and riding safely. Just today, I saw 2 girls that if they were 11, they were 80. Just 2 little kids coming in. One of them had their voucher, went right up to member services and got her reward for that. So we're rewarding the behavior we want repeated from the individuals. We're also rewarding in a little contest with Community Patrol because we want them to be motivated. So there's a point system for how many of those that they give out versus, how many other citations and issues that they respond to.
As I understand, we've issued 58 of those reward certificates to date.
As of today, yeah.
Which is outstanding.
Actually, we're probably at 59 because 58 was your month end. So we're probably closer to 60.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Really good to hear. Great work. And the other thing that goes with it is, how about our camera program? I hear there's some new signs that are available for people if you enroll.
Well, Greg, what has he won?
This is what the signs look like. I always like to have a prop when I'm doing this, but I picked this up yesterday. As Ken mentioned, as of today, we have 90 participants, but only about 10 of us, including Director Cook over here have picked up their, and Bill, I guess, three, have picked up their signs. So you folks paid for cameras and all this fancy technology, but you won't pick up the sign and get some mileage out of it. And hopefully these will be a deterrent, which is really what this is all about. So that's what they look like. Oh, and there's a window sticker, which I can't use, but that's a miniature of the sign, which can go in your window if you have a good place to put this. So I'm very happy to have my sign.
And more so, kudos again to the communication department, because as soon as we got these signs in, they created some great graphics, got it on social media. They've got it inside the office there. So members are going, I'll take one. And they're signing up. And I get an alert on my phone every time that happens. So I can put a tick mark on my whiteboard and keep that accurate count. So, and just before the meeting, number 90 hit my email. So we're good to go.
That's great news. It's a program we put in place. It's really good to see it gaining traction. So thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, with that, we are down to our board member comments. So we're going to begin with Jeff, fresh from Alaska.
Yeah, I was trying to bring some of the cooler weather back with me, but unfortunately it didn't work. I don't have a lot of comments tonight. I'm happy to see Paul get on board with the TWG. And just, Ken, you're just doing a great job. I'm really glad that you've come on board here. Just the staff has been doing great. It's all of them, Tiffany, Susan, Mary, and even Steve sometimes does pretty good. But I just want to let you guys know we really appreciate you. And hopefully y'all go and get your sign. And that's about all I got.
Joe.
Well, plenty hot enough. So hopefully we get some cooler weather coming up. I just have two committees to report on, and TWG is an easy committee because they're dark for the summer. Although they do have a handful crew that's still working every Tuesday morning, filling divots, sanding divots. So, and if you're interested in joining the TWG, you can show up at the golf maintenance yard in October, 7:30 on a Tuesday morning, and they'd be happy to welcome you. Green Committee, they're working hard on a number of projects. They're going to unveil the course reconfiguration on reopening of the golf course after the October closure. That'll be interesting and a little change for everybody. But we have new plaques that'll be ordered for that. Unfortunately, they won't be here in time for that opening, but we'll work diligently to get them up as soon as we can. They're also researching bunker repair design. The bunkers are 8 or 9 years old. I think the renewal recommendation is usually about 7 or 8 years. So they're looking into that as one of their projects, and also looking into possibly adding more security cameras around the country club to protect the perimeter of the golf course that's adjacent to the country club. Green Committee meets on the second Thursday of every month, 1 o'clock in the Magnolia Room. It's an open meeting, and if you're interested in the golf course or the care of the golf course, you're welcome to attend. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Alex.
All right, so the committee I can respond on is the Rules Committee. I'm a liaison on the Rules Committee. We're close to the end of a project that we've been working on for 18 months, I believe. And that's going through all the rules and cleaning up duplication. Virtually every park, every amenity here, for example, had a no loitering rule. Our goal was to reduce the 170 pages of rules into something that's actually a usable document. So we've been going through that. Tiffany and her staff have worked a lot of hours on this, plus the committee. So we are going to that. I think the next step is at Eric's desk, and then it'll come to the board for us to review. Super happy about that. It's super good job. One thing that was mentioned already, Ken kind of stole my thunder, but school started today for Elsinore School District. That means there's a lot of kids getting on and off buses. Just to remind you guys, slow down. You see the buses, slow down. Do you see that red stop sign? Stop. We are asking patrol to do whatever they can if they're in that area to start writing tickets. And this is a safety issue, and anything that comes around here with safety, we take as a high priority. So just remind you guys, slow down, when you see any chance of kids or a school bus. I want to give kudos. I'd love to give it to you, Ken, but you're too new. So, but Community Patrol and Marine Patrol in the last, I would say 2 months, have really changed how they're policing our waterway and our streets. There's a much more intensive customer service part of the equation that wasn't there before. I felt it on 4th of July night, going through the tunnel after the fireworks. They were part of the equation. They were having fun. They were joking around with everybody on their speakers. And I've been kind of dreaming of this for a long time, of like more of a partnership with all of us. And they are part of our community. They're here every day. They are part. And so it's good to see that interaction being positive versus don't do that, turn your lights off, turn them on, and kind of pointing and bossing. So I just want to give kudos. I know Ken's been here recently, but he can take the pat on the back. But Dave Martella on the Marine Patrol, and you guys too on Community Patrol, I'm feeling the difference. I see the difference. So thank you. My last thing, July 4th, we haven't spoken about it. I think we came away a much better position than we did a year ago. I think that we put a lot of little things in place to work on this. We didn't want to clamp down so hard that people's rights were infringed and stuff like that, because we know Canyon Lake's still a vacation spot for a lot of us. Even the ones that do live here full time, we still think vacation. So it was really good to see that we came out of that weekend really positive, and we made positive strides to make our community safer and more enjoyable for our members. So thank you to the community, because it really takes all of us to make it work. It can't just be a few people, but thank you guys.
Thank you, Alex. Greg.
I would once again like to give kudos to our communications department. They, in the last 6 or 8, 9 months have really stepped up their game in terms of getting information out to the members of the community. A few months ago, I noticed more and more and more content in the weekly e-newsletter that comes out, which used to come out on Friday and was moved to Thursday night now, if you've noticed that. I believe that was in the hope of getting more eyeballs on it, because a lot of people on Friday nights are busy and lose track of it over the weekend. It's gotten so big now, full of information, which is what it's all about. Someone got the bright idea of actually including a table of contents in that document. So you can, if you're in a hurry, you can go through and pick and choose what you want to read. But they've really done a terrific job. And we do so many things here at the POA, activities and events. It's sometimes hard to put them all in one place and get them out to you people, but they're doing a very, very good job. So congratulations to you guys. That's a good segue into another communications issue. This Canyon Lake Living magazine comes out once a quarter. I guess we used to mail it out to all the members, but for some reason we don't do that anymore. But it is available for pickup in the POA office, and I believe you get an email that includes this electronically. But in this month's, this quarter's edition, there's a great article by Eric Kazikoff about why amenities are subsidized. There's a lot of people, if you sit in this chair long enough, actually it doesn't take very long, people don't really understand why the restaurants don't make money when they need to make money. Well, there's a reason for that. And I'm not going to go into the details, but this came to light recently about this constant scrutiny of why don't they make money, and really doesn't apply just to the restaurants. It applies to all the amenities that run in red ink initially before they're subsidized. And this is just, it's on page 8 of this quarter's Canyon Lake Living, and it's worth a read because, again, I think there's a few people, more than a few, that don't really understand why we have a subsidy at all and why we just don't make a lot of money. So I would encourage you all to read that. It's very enlightening. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. All right, I'll close with a couple of comments. One, I want to take us back a bit. It was a year ago, a little over a year and 2 weeks ago, This room was filled to the people in here raising enormous and legitimate concerns about the safety and security of our community as a result of 4th of July last year. And if you compare and contrast that to this year, what a difference. And I believe all of the credit goes to our POA staff. Eric, you and your team, the communications team did such a great job getting the messages out. Operations always does a great job getting everything ready. Activities and providing the things that we do there, and our security team. It was well coordinated. A very thick plan was put in place. It was orchestrated to the letter. And just an outstanding job. And every comment I've heard back from every resident has been, my goodness, what a difference. And so, Eric, thank you for the great work. I'm the liaison on the senior working group. They meet on the first Tuesday of the month. They meet at 9 o'clock on today. They had a very successful potluck last Sunday of every month as a potluck. There was one that's catered last month by the Sports Stop, a taco dinner, and they will be having another one coming up in September as well, a spaghetti dinner. Great group of people. Anyone, if you're not familiar with the senior center and the senior work group, I encourage you to get to know them. They do a lot of great things for our community. I'm also the liaison to the Security Advisory Committee. They meet on they've just changed their meetings. It used to be the last Tuesday of the month. It is now the second Monday of the month. So August 12th will be the next meeting if anyone wants to attend that. A couple of things they're working on is that last year we started a pilot program for Neighborhood Watch. They now have a template that can be replicated and taken to other neighborhoods. And so they're looking for feedback. If there's any neighbors that would like to become a champion or a captain for your neighborhood, they're soliciting that feedback. So watch for more information on that. They also every quarter have done a perimeter review, and they've gone out and reviewed all of the access points where some people have opened up the fence or something else, and that's been reported operations and usually gets corrected that day or the next day. So I want to thank all of our committees for all of the volunteer work they do to help us keep things going and bring everything to our attention. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you everyone for attending. Look forward to seeing you next month.